Olden days. Hmm.
Good morning. We continue Torah portion Ha'azinu.
What does that mean, Hazin, please?
Oh, listen, here. Ear, here. With your ear, here. That's what it means. We welcome our dear Pesach back to come to learn. We are the second reading. A bit lengthy, so let's get right into it.
7.
Okay, chapter 32 in the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, verse 7. Okay. Zachor, remember, Yemois Olam, the days of old. Binu, understand, Shnois Dor Vador, the years of generation after generation. Shal Avicha, ask your father, Viyagetcha, and he will tell you. Zikanecha, your elders, V'yomer Loch, and they will tell you. Yaged is like from the word Haggadah, relate, and Yomer is they will tell you. Okay, let's see number 7. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
All righty, amazing. Okay, let people in. Okay, Zachar Yemai Salem. Remember the days of old. Ma'asa Barishanim. What did God do when He came earlier? Sheikhisu Lafanav, that they caused anger before Him. In other words, why do you have to remember the days of old? Right? And others remember because you angered God in the days of old. That's what Rashi is coming to say. In the context, that makes sense of what we learned yesterday, right? Continues Rashi. Binu shnais dor v'ador. Understand the years of generation after generation. Dor enosh, the generation of enosh. Shehetzif aleihem me unki anois, upon which God poured forth the waters of the ocean. That is, we have to look there in Genesis. Dora Mabul, the generation of the flood. Tafam, that he washed them away. That's one explanation. Others, door, 2 generations. The door of Enosh, and the door of the flood, the generation of the flood. Alternative explanation to this. If you don't place your heart upon the past to learn a lesson, right? As the old saying, history repeats itself, right? Understand the years of generation after generation. Lahaki or lahaba, to recognize for the future. The God, He has the power to do good for you, and to give you as your portion, the days of Mashiach, and the world to come. That's interesting. In other words, so there's the days of old, and then there's the generations to come. In other words, if you're going to learn from history, so then you'll get your portion in the times of Mashiach and Elam Haba. Okay, Shal Avicha, ask your father, Elo HaNevim, who's your father? These are the prophets. Shenikra Alvis, they're called fathers. As it says by Elijah the prophet, Avi, Rechav Israel, my father, chariot of Israel. Okay. Zikanecha, your elders, and these are the sages. And they will tell you a Rishonim of previous events. What are they going to tell you? And others are going to tell you, learn from history. Right? Learn from history. Oh boy. Bibi could take a good lesson right now, and what he's going to deal with, Trump. And we're not going further on that. But boy, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What a perfect verse right now, huh? Wow. Okay, we continue in verse number 8. Bahanchil, Bahanchil is when he gives the possession, the inheritance, yeah, in his giving Elyon, meaning the supreme one. Elyon means the supreme one, that he's giving the inheritance, goyim of the nations, bahafridai, in his separating bnei Adam, the children of man, Yatsev Gavulais, he sets borders, Amim of the nations, Lemisbar, to the number of Bnei Israel, the children of Israel. Okay, that definitely needs explanation. All right? Let's see what Rashi has to say. Just on the simple translation.
Rabbi Fine?
Yes.
Liba got knocked off the Zoom and she's trying to get in, but there's no co-host.
I thought I made you
She
co-host.
was a co-host.
Oh, I thought I made you co-host. Okay, sorry. Okay, you are now. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Rabbi Fine.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, let's see Rashi in number 8. Bahanchil Elyon Goyim. So Bahanchil again, the portion that the Elyon, the supreme one, gave of the nations, okay? Or gave to the nations their portion. Let's see Rashi. Bahanchil HaKodesh Baruch Hu lema'achisov, when Hashem allotted to those who anger him as chelik nachalosom, the share of their inheritance. Hatzifam ushtafam, he, huh? Yeah, he washed them away, and he washed them away. He inundated them and washed them away. So that's connecting to the previous verse. It's connecting to the previous verse. That's their inheritance. Yeah. Right. That's connecting to the previous verse. That's what how Rashi is explaining it.
Is to flood.
Yeah. The Hafida b'nei Adam, when he separated the children of man, k'shehefitz dor haflaga, that's speaking about the Tower of Babel. If you remember the Tower of Babel, where he dispersed the generations in creating a disunity. Haya biyada, God had the power lahavira mina olam, to remove them from the world. But he didn't do so. Ella yatziv gvulos amim, he set the borders of people. Kayamim, he preserved them. Yibdam, and he did not destroy them. As before that, all people were together as one, right? Then by the Tower of Babel, he dispersed them to make them into different different nations, right? Having their separate borders. And not united as they were before.
So everyone there spoke Lashon HaKodesh.
Till then, yeah.
And then they changed. Everybody had their own language.
Yeah, exactly. The Mispar b'nei Israel, to the number of children of Israel, bishvil. So what does that mean? Bishvil Mispar b'nei Israel, because of the number of the children of Israel, Shasidim Ulatzes are destined to come forth mibnei Shem, from the children of Shem, right? Shem then lived, right? Shem is the son of Noach, exactly. So Shem was alive then. He is the progenitor of the Jewish people. And so it was done for the number of the children of Israel that would be in the future coming out. Mitzvah Shivim Nefesh, the number of 70 souls, Shabbanei Israel, that were the children of Israel. Because who's Israel? Who's Israel? Anybody? Yaakov. Jacob is Israel, right? Mm-hmm. That's his second name that he was given after he battled with the angel. So when we say the children of Israel, here it means in a literal sense, the children of Israel, as opposed to the collective sense of the Jewish people, right? That's how Rashi is explaining it. So, and it was done. Why did God separate all of these nations? It was done for the sake of the children of Israel that would eventually come out from Shem. Shiardim, we time that those 70 souls of the children of Israel went down to Egypt with the story of Yosef. He said the boundaries of the peoples, Shivim Loshan, with 70 languages. Wow, whoa, 70 people, 70 languages. In other words, he said it previously already, right? Because of the future, what would be. The 70 that went down are an embodiment of the 70 nations, right? That because of them, God earlier already separated and made already 70 nations in the times of the Tower of Babel. Huh?
I don't understand how the 70 nation connecting to 70 children of Jacob.
Huh? That's the connection. That's what that there were 70 souls that went down, descended, and now God set the boundaries by the Dor Haflaga of 70 nations, based on what would the future would bring, right? That's what Rashi is saying, right? Bishvil misba b'nei Yisrael she'asidim latzeis mibnei Shem, right? So there's a connection, 70-70, right? By the way, from here you see how you can make a mistake, how one Jew is representing a whole nation, a whole non-Jewish nation, right? And the mistake that people make from that is that and even though there's something true to it, that will give away 1,000 terrorists for one Jew, because really the whole nation's worth the one Jew. That's really what it's really what it's worth. But the problem in doing that is what you're doing is you're going to bring more death and destruction by giving up the 1,000 terrorists, right? But that's a different discussion. But the parallel and what's going on now, what's going now on with Bibi and Trump, my gosh, how current is this? How this is just speaking to today, literally today. We're we're in verse number 10, 9. Sorry. Wow. Whoa. This is Ki chelak Hashem amoy. Now it continues because chelak, the portion of Hashem amoy is his people. Jacob, Hevel is the rope, nachalosai, of his possession. Literally means rope. It also means portion. Let's see Rashi, number 9. Okay, we're good? No, if you're following, you're not good. You're great. But please follow what we're learning and not elsewhere. Like, be on, right? Focus and not, look ahead. Hashem's share is his people. Lama kol zois. Why all of this? Rashi, why did God preserve those who deserve to be destroyed and establish 70 nations for them? Right? What did God do? He preserved these nations when really they should have been destroyed. Right? We're in chapter 32, verse 9. Right? That's what it should have happened, but he didn't. He preserved. Why? This is what Rashi's asking. Because his share was hidden amongst them, amongst all the nations. Who's his share? The Jewish people. But there was no Jewish people then, right? So it was hidden amongst the nations in Shem, and afterwards until it came to, right, the 9 generations after Shem, because from Noach to Avram, there's 10 generations. So it was hidden amongst the people. And they would be destined to emerge. Omihu Chelka, and who is it? Share Amma, his people. Omihu Amma, and who is his people? And the verse continues. Yaakov Chevanachalosa, that Jacob is the portion, literally means a rope, right? But here it means, in a sense, it is his possession. Like he got roped in, right? Or as we learn in Tanya, how do we learn in Tanya? The guy rope, I think we explained it last night, right? We explained the rope, right? We're connected above and to our soul and our body down here, like a rope. And we were in last night's class. Hu Ashlishi Shabbat, and he is the third of the patriarchs, right? So why not Abraham? Why the reference to Jacob, right? Why? Because he's tripled with three merits. He has the merit of his father's father, which is Abraham. And he has the merit of his father, which is Yitzchak, Isaac. And he has his own merit, right? He has his own merit. Wow. Hare Shalosh, here you have three. Kechevo. He's tying it into the rope because a rope is not one strand. A rope is made of different, at least here in this metaphor, three strands. Wow. That's why. So he ties it in why it has to be a rope, right? The term rope over here. Kechevo lazeh, like this rope, shu asui v'shleisha gidilin, that's made of three strands. And it is Jacob and his sons who became God's possessions. Yishmael ben Avram, and not Ishmael the son of Avram. And not Esau the son of Yitzchak. Oh my gosh. This is like it was written in present tense, you know? This was not written. This is not written. Rashi is almost 1,000 years ago, right? This is like written today. Unreal.
So this is showing that Eretz Yisrael belongs to us.
Yeah, that and even more. But we're not going to go. We went through it, but we're going to continue.
Not claim any closeness to our forefathers, saying that they are part of it. They're
Yeah.
not.
Right. Exactly.
cannot-
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
There's
Yeah.
no connection.
No connection. Right.
We are purely, the only nation who's connected to our forefathers.
Rabbi, that's why the king needs to read the Torah every day. That's why
Yeah.
it stays clear in his mind.
Exactly.
But
Yeah. No. I'm sorry. No questions right now because I'm sorry. I can't. I'm sorry. Not now. Later because it's a long and I can't take away from the learning itself. Okay. I'm sorry. Please.
No problem.
Please.
No.
Okay. Okay.
But for later.
Yeah, later.
For later.
Yimtza. Okay. Verse number 10. Yimtza Ehu. He found him. Okay. Him. Imtza Ehu. It's Imtza Ehu is found them. That's actually it's plural.
Nation.
Yeah, but I know I'm translating so people can learn it. I wanted that they understand the words, right? He found them. It's not him. All right. It's referring to the people.
It's a singular. It's not plural.
Ehu is
It's a singular.
here it translates plural
Because it's
actually
a
them.
reference to the nation.
No, it says plural. It's plural. Actually, it's a chalekes over here. Okay, Be'eretz Midbar, in the land. It's referring to the Jewish people, of course, so that he found them, right? But let's see. Be'eretz Midbar, in the land of the desert. Ve'osayhu, and in the wastes. Yaleel, the howling, Yishimoin of the wilderness. V'Sevenu, and he encircled him. V'Yevanehu, and he made him comprehend. The word bina there, that's to comprehend. Yitzarenu, and he guarded ki isha enoi, like the pupil of his eye. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Whoops.
No.
Okay, Rashi. He found them in the desert, found them. Them. He found them. What do you mean he found them? He found them faithful. That's what it means. The Eretz Hamidbar, in the land of the desert, they accepted the Torah upon themselves. That's what it means he found them. Umalchusay, and his kingship. V'ulay, and his yoke. Mashaloi also Ishmael ve'Esav, which that which was not done by Ishmael and Esav, they didn't do so. Shenemar, as it says, Bezarach Meseir Lamai, as the verse says, and he shone forth from them from Seir, meaning he went to Seir, which refers to Esav, to see if they would accept. Esav doesn't mean the person Esav; it means the nations that come from Esav, right? Because Esav, we're talking about from Yaakov to now Moshe Rabbeinu and the Jewish people, right? That's was 4 generations now. That's three three generations later. So it's speaking about the nation. He came to them and they didn't accept God. They didn't accept the ways of God. And he appeared from Mount Paran, which that is to Yishmael. That Yishmael was Paran. Do you have ask him to find the French Chumash? The French Chumash. Oh, he has it. He has it. Okay.
Speak about the parasha, to speak about
No,
Jacob and Esau.
yeah, but no talking now. Only listening. Only it's hazinu. Hazinu means we were listening. Okay, only listening now. We're only listening. Okay, continue. V'sayhu yalel yishimoin, and in the waste of the hollowing wilderness. What is that? Eretziya Ushmama. It's a land of parchness and desolation. Malkam Yalelas Tani, a place of howling of Tananim, which is wild animals. Abanais Yana, and the screaming of Abanais Yana, which is also wild birds. Afsham there too. Nimshachu achar amuna, they were drawn by faith. How can we go out to the deserts? A place that's parched and desolate. In Shenamar, as it says, and follow me into the desert, which is from Jeremiah. I'm actually flabbergasted because the Jews complain so many times. and where does he bring a verse from? Jeremiah. He doesn't bring it from Chumash. And okay, we have to see if the Rebbe has a sikh on that. Okay, Yusuf Avenu, when he encircled him, Sham Sivivam, he encircled them, Vihikifam, and surrounded them, Ka'ananim, with clouds. Vesibam, and he positioned all around them, the Golim, La'arba Ruchais, with divisions of the tribes for direction. Vesibam, and he encircled them, Betachti Sahar, at the bottom of the mountain, Shekafa Aleyhim, because he held over them, Gigas, like a tub. So he brought three instances where he encircled them. Interesting, like they don't match. I also don't get this, what Rashi's saying there. But let's continue. And he made them to comprehend. Sham b'Torah. He gave them the Torah with understanding. What does it mean he gave with understanding? That's the oral tradition. I think that's what it means. The oral tradition, not just the written word, right? Because the written word you wouldn't understand. You need the oral tradition to explain it. Yitzarenu, and he guarded them. Menachish, Sarif, and Akrab, meaning against snakes, fiery serpents, and scorpions, and against the nations. He guarded them. It's interesting. I guess that was more common, the snakes, and that in the desert, that was a daily occurrence, and against the nations was, from time to time.
To the cloud of glory.
Yeah, that's we just said that. He just said that.
He's saying before.
Yeah, he just said that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like the pupil of his eye. This is the blackness that is in the eye. That the light, which is illumination, goes out, meaning the power of vision comes from the black of the eye that you can see, and therefore we are that illumination to God, the apple of his eye. And right, the Aramaic translation, he says he translates it differently, that God supplied for the Jewish people all their needs in the desert. Kamoi, as the word matzah means, or matzah lahem, that he would suffice for them. And the mountain will not provide for us. In other words, that God is providing, right? Rashi said that we were found there, right? We were found faithful. How? Because at Mount Sinai we accepted God. Onkelos explains it differently. Why he brings them, I'm not certain. But next, Yisuvevenu, and he circled them. Ashrinu Sachor Leshchinte. Onkelos translate that means that he made the camp around his divine presence. Oyel Mayed be'emsa, that the tent of meeting was in the middle of Arba Degolim, and the four divisions are Arba Ruchais. So Onkelos translates it and gives a different explanation to those words. Number 11.
But the black of the eye is actually a hole. It's not just black.
Well, he says the illumination. That's where we see our vision comes from. That
Yeah.
the black of the eye. That's what he's saying.
It's a hole.
Of course.
Right.
That's why when you take a picture, you see red because you see the blood in the back of your eye.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But what Rashi was bringing out is that the illumination comes from there, meaning that's the why the black of the eye, because that's where the illumination of God.
Comes through.
Right. No, but it's a metaphor. What's the metaphor? That the Jewish people are God's illumination. That's what it means. That's the diuk that Rashi is coming to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. The idea is connected with each other. Okay, verse number 11. Kinesher, like an eagle, Yo'ir, arousing. Yo'ir means air, to awaken, to arouse. Kinoi, his nest. Al Zolov, upon, hovering upon. No, not hovering. Sorry, that's not hovering. Geizolov means his young, right? Because we're talking about a nest here. So there's young on the nest, right? His young, Yerachev, that he is hovering. Of course, a metaphor, right? Yifrais kenafav, he spreads. Yifrais means he spreads. Kenaf of his wings, v'yikachehu, and he takes them, right? Means he carry. V'yisayehu, no, he takes them. V'yisayehu, and he carries them. So means to like hold, to look up, hold up. Al evrasoi, on his pinions. Pinions like on
Wing.
On his wings.
right. The pinions are. But what are your pinions? Is it we have? Huh?
The pinions are at the end of his
The ends?
hook.
The hook? Yeah, that means there.
In here.
Oh, holding by the pin. Oh, right, by the right. No, but here it's on the carrying. That's not
His shoulders.
that's all like on the wings, on the shoulders of the
The
wings.
reference to the cloud that was protecting.
Well, yeah, I know. Let Rashi let's see. But why do we want to understand the? First, we have to have the metaphor, how it means in the metaphor. Then
Yeah, so it's
right.
the wing.
But
It's on
what?
top of the-
But is it the shoulder part of the wing, or is it like? Anyway, let's see.
Right in the middle.
They're in the middle. Okay, you know what? Let's see. Maybe Rashi's going to give us the explanation. Let's see. Let's see Rashi. Okay, Kinesh Yar Kinoi, like an eagle arousing his nest. Nia Gambarachami Bechemla. So what's the metaphor? Rashi says that God, He led us with mercy and compassion. Kinesh Razeh Shehu Berachamani Albanav, like an eagle who is merciful towards his children. What does it mean? He doesn't enter to the nest suddenly, right? Because then that's going to frighten the fledglings, right? So he doesn't do that. Until he flaps and shakes above his children with his wings, between one tree and another, between one branch and another. Why? In order that his children should will awake. In other words, he's doing it gently, right? An eagle is a big bird, right? All right, big bird, and what's going to happen if he come too quickly? It's going to startle the children. So he goes to the branches first, and so on, in order to awaken the children. Right? In order that the children should have the strength to receive him, the eagle. Wow. Right? So that's what God does with us. He has compassion with us, right?
So beautiful.
Yeah, mamish. Yo'ir kinoi, arousing his nest. Yo'ir bonav, awakening his children. Right? Al geizolov, upon his young Yerachef, he's hovering. He does not rest his weight upon them, but rather he covers them. He touches yet doesn't touch them. Right? Like speaking about the eagle here in the metaphor. So likewise God does for us. Shakai loy matzau sagi koyach. That's a verse in Job. God will, he did not find him abundant in strength. This means, when God came to give us a Torah, he did not reveal himself to Israel from one direction, that it would be so intense, right? Like, a wind comes from one direction, it's extremely intense. God would come from one direction. Ella, rather, it came from all four directions. Shenema. Hashem misinai ba, that Hashem came from Sinai, v'zarach miseir lamoy, and he also came from Seir, v'haifa mehar paran, he also came from Harman Paran, right? Which is three different directions. And another verse says, Elokah meitaiman yavoy, that God came from Taiman. He was a Yemenite. God was a Yemenite. Right? That's the fourth direction. In other words, God came from all four directions. So what happens when you have a wind comes from all four directions? You're in the middle. You're not going to get blown away, even though their souls left them. So I don't know exactly what this means, right? Because it was too much for them. So much so that it said the Jewish people said to Moshe, you get the rest of the Torah. This is too much for us. Moshe wasn't happy with that, but God afterwards said that the Jewish people were correct in their assessment that it should come from you. Anyways, and that's a whole different parsha. We won't go there.
We said before, Arba Digalim le'Arba Ruchot. So that's the connection.
Right. But
that's what's Arba Ruchot. I didn't
Right.
understand before, but now I do, because
Right,
it's
but-
saying what it is.
right, that connects with previously. But what does it mean in their experience at Har Sinai, Parcha Nishmasam? So how does that fit in with this? I don't get. Right. That fits in with previously. Good, but how does it fit in with what we know from previously? I'm not clear. Okay. Anyways, we got a truck over here. Yifrais kenafav yikachehu. He spread his wings. He takes it. Right. When he comes to take them. Now it's in the metaphor, right? Now we're talking about the metaphor of the eagle. When the eagle comes to take from place to place, he does not take them on his feet. Kishar oifis, like other birds. That's what they do. The shishar oifis, because other birds, they're afraid of the eagle. When he soars high, because he goes, and he flies over them. The eagle flies higher than other birds. The fika, therefore, that's why they carry their young by their feet, because of the eagle, right? They're frightened from the eagle. Because the eagle will come and take their fledgling. But the eagle, he fears nothing but an arrow. Therefore he carries them on his wings. He says, better that the arrow should enter me, than shall enter my children. That's the metaphor. Likewise, God is the same. That he carried them on the wings of eagles. What does that mean? And the Egyptians came after them, and they caught up to them by the sea. Right, the Egyptians were shooting at the Israelites, chitzim on arrows, and they would catapult stones against them. Miyad, thereupon, was the verse 8, the angel of God moved, and it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of the Israelites to block the arrows and the stones. That's why God took it into himself. Like the eagle takes it upon himself, that's what God did for us. Verse number 12. Okay, that we get. Okay.
There was a cloud that turns after them, and it absorbed all the arrows and all the stones.
Yeah.
That's a similar concept.
Verse number 12, the last one. Hashem, God, Badad Yanchenu, alone guided them. Badad means alone. Yanchenu is he guided them. Okay. Ve'ein imai, and there was not with him Kel Nechar, a foreign god. Okay. Verse number 12 in Rashi. Hashem badab yanchenu. Hashem alone guided him, but assuredly in the solitude, Nahagam Bamidbar, he led them in the wilderness. And there was no foreign gods with him. There was not one of the gods in the nations that had any power to demonstrate his strength, or the ilachim to wage a war against you. Remember that, all these nations, they had a god that they went in the name of this god, that god, and so on. The god of war, the god of and so on. So none of them demonstrated any strength against you. That's one explanation. Rabbi Seinu Darshu are the sages. They explained it. Al ha'osid. This is referring to the future. This is referring to the future that God alone guided.
It's still gonna happen.
Yeah, in the future.
Amen.
Right now is the
Amen.
future.
Amen.
Well, he is no question. He's guiding now. Just that every the Jewish people and the so-called leaders should be aligned with it. And so Unkelis translates the Ani Omer. That's what. So Unkelis is going according to the rabbinic sages, right? That's in the future. Rashi, right, explained it that there's no other godly power from the nations when they fought against you, right? And I say, they're actually words of admonition. Whoa, so what was his first? The first explanation was him too, no? This is to call the heavens and earth to witness, that this song should be for the Israelites as a witness, leave God, because in the end they're going to betray God. They're not going to remember the previous things that God did for them, nor the things that are going to happen to them that will be good. Then the future He's destined to do for them. Therefore, we have to resolve the matter of this passage, both this way and that way. In other words, referring to the past and the present. The whole inyan and this entire matter of of this passage refers back until the first passage we had from today's learning. They have to remember the days of old, understand the years and generations to come, which was also past and future. Wow, right? Cain also lehem, so did God do to them. And so He's destined to do. All of this, they should have remembered. Whoa. I would love to go further into this, but we have now Tanya. Thank you, folks. Amazing.
Is there time for a question?
Not to me. You could ask